We started a relationship with Cleveland High School, which is the high school here, one of the high schools here in Southeast Portland. And Cleveland is one of the more academically rigorous, creative communities in really all of Oregon. It's a very challenging place to develop a relationship as a church. As with many Portlanders, there's a lot of history and a lot of baggage with Christians coming in and doing their shtick and their thing. And so for us, we didn't really have the heart to come in and do the tracts or do the protests or do the Bible pass-outs, just simply because we knew anything that would take place would come by simple acts of service. I heard somebody once say that everybody wants a revolution, but nobody wants to do the dishes. If you're not getting responses, and even if you are getting responses, go to the football games, go to the volleyball games, show up at this stuff, be present. And over time, you're going to find that just by having a face and being present, people are going to see you, and they're over time going to recognize you as somebody who's familiar and trustworthy. The principal, like another pastor, and understand that they're pastoring a whole school, and they care a lot more about those kids than you do right now, and that they know what's best, and they know the political ramifications, they know what the student body is like, they know a lot more about the school than you do. And so go in more as a learner than a preacher, go in more as somebody who has something to gain from this, that you have something to learn, that you have something to gain in your own understanding, and that presumptuously you shouldn't come in to think that you know what's best for the school. Go in and ask what they know is best for the school. The person who comes in and says, we're going to do all this stuff for you, that's the classic missionary mistake, is showing up somewhere and saying, you know what's best for that particular people group. No, you don't. Show up and ask questions. Take some time and just check out what books are being read, what questions people are asking, what thoughts people are having, what are people's reservations. Don't assume that you know God's will for this particular place. You have a lot to learn too. I love any moment as a pastor when I've been given the right by God to take the idea, the abstract idea of grace, and I put a name and a face to it. And when you pick up a rake and some gloves and you eat some donuts really early on a Saturday morning when you're really tired and you don't want to be there, it takes grace from being a wonderful concept to being a place. And grace is never abstract. Grace has flesh and bones. And it takes grace. It takes it and it makes it real. And I love that. The cities of America are more and more and more going to be reached by nameless and faceless people, by people who don't get any credit for anything. If your motivation is ultimately about you, get out of this business. You're going to find yourself disenfranchised, frustrated, cynical, and angry. But if your interest is being somewhere for years and just laying your life down somewhere, man, I think of the story of Pentecost. Jesus didn't give the church a set of programs. He said, get together and pray. As a Christian, your job is to show up and find out what today's job is. Not 1,000 years down the road, not 10 years down the road, today. And I guarantee you there's a box with a small set of instructions for you today, right now, that can be done. It might be small, insignificant, and it'll never make it into the paper. But if you do it, God is so good at what he does, I think he'll provide another box. What I loved about our first time of doing the Rake Day was not that the school was blessed. I loved that all 75 of those people, for the rest of their life, will drive by that school and have a memory of that school. And that memory of that place will always pull at their hearts. And those 75 people will probably be more changed than anybody will.